Here inside Quicken Loans Arena to recap what David Blatt, the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, called an embarrassing performance by his team. 127-98 the final tonight against the Atlanta Hawks. Chris Fedor, Chris Haynes, Joe Vardon with you. And guys, there's no other way to put this one except for the Cavs got blitzed against Atlanta in a way that the Cavs blitzed Atlanta the first time around.
And you just look at, if you look at the stat lines of the Hawks coming into the game, their leading scorer was out of the game, but he averaged about 16.5 points a game. It's pretty much spread out. There's no one dynamic offensive player. So to see the Hawks come into Quicken Loans Arena, pounce on the Cavaliers the way that they did, it was just, you couldn't have seen it coming. But the way they did it was just efficient ball movement, passing from left to right, kept the Cavs moving, kept the Cavs, defense on, just kept them at odds. And they just couldn't come about. And so tonight was definitely, and LeBron James touched on it, it was definitely a letdown defensively.
Chris, when you see a game like this and a team scores 127 points in a game, is that more about what they're doing or is it more about what the Cavs didn't do?
You have to, in a situation like this, I'm sorry not to give credit to the Hawks, but I'm about to say the Cavs played atrociously on defense. Okay. You cannot allow a team, Atlanta Hawks team, like I said, they do not have a dynamic scorer. They had one tonight, though, in Shelvin Mack, out of nowhere, who didn't play the previous two games. They had one tonight. The Cavaliers made him into a dynamic scorer. So that's why I have to place much of the blame on what the Cavaliers did not do tonight.
And Shelvin Mack joins a long list of rotational guys who have played like all-stars against this team. Kelly Olynyk, Lou Williams, Mike Muscala, Tyreke Evans, all those guys, including Shelvin Mack, have either matched or scored a season high against this Cavaliers defense. Yeah. Ryan Anderson, another one. Randy Foye, another one. The list goes on, folks, and these aren't big names either that's doing it to the Cavs. And as Chris mentioned, no Jeff Teague tonight, and you thought that was going to be a break. But after the game, Joe, LeBron James, he made some comments. David Blatt made some comments. It didn't seem like they looked at this loss the same kind of way, did it?
No. I mean, you have to look at it from this perspective. This is David Blatt's first really, really bad loss in the NBA. LeBron James has had a bunch of them. I just was flipping through tonight. I mean, he's lost games by 36 points, 32, 30. It's never happened to David Blatt before. And so I think the reactions tonight were a little bit more organic from both sides than earlier in the year when there would be a tough loss and Blatt would say one thing and LeBron would say another. To me, that was more of a sign of disconnect early on. I think the winning that the Cavs have enjoyed over the last month has brought them somewhat closer together. And so I think tonight, as long as they can nip it in the bud at practice and Friday night, I think tonight is something that a really bad night that happened in a vacuum.
LeBron said after the game, Joe, that he feels like the team has taken a step back defensively. It wasn't just tonight against Atlanta. You can go back to the New Orleans game, giving up 119 points to the New Orleans Pelicans without Anthony Davis. Is there something wrong here with the Cavs defense?
You know what? I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. On Friday night in New Orleans, that was not only the second night of a back-to-back, which is everyone's always go-to excuse, but that was at the end of a ridiculously long stretch, tough stretch of games. And then tonight, after one quarter, the Cavs were up by 8. Yep. They were playing okay. And then the Hawks made 9 threes in the second quarter, which spread everybody out. And then they went right at Kevin Love, right at Andy in the middle, and the Cavs had no answer for that. So then they tried to compensate for that, and all of a sudden the guys are wide open again on the perimeter. It just got away from them. I feel like this is a one-time thing. We'll see.
Chris, you mentioned it. It seemed like Atlanta did whatever Atlanta wanted to do against the Cavs, wanted to get the three-pointer, knock down 16 of those bad boys, score in the paint. They did that too, 58 points in the paint. The Cavs gave that up tonight to Atlanta, a team that's not known for scoring that many points in the paint. They have Al Horford, they have Paul Millsap, but still, they're known as moving the ball around, knocking down outside shots, and tonight they just got whatever they wanted to against the Cavs.
And that's why I can't chalk it up. I disagree with Joe a little bit. I can't chalk it up to one game because the simple fact is this team has the tendency to get complacent. They win some games, get on the hot streak, feeling good about themselves. Then they resort back to collapsing or falling back on the defensive end. And tonight, with these guys, you have Kyle Korver, who's one of the best shooters out, in the NBA we have. Shawn Marion's been shutting him down. He did it today. He did it last game. So it shouldn't be so much reason for the Hawks to have so much space out on the floor. The only reason they was getting that much space because they were getting a lot of uncontested shots. And I don't care who you are. Joe can go out there. You can go out there. You getting some wide open looks. You're going to have a higher percentage of making those shots out there. And once you see the ball go in, you start to build confidence, and that's what happened. In that second quarter, they built confidence. They built so much confidence that Scott, at the end of the half, hit a 30-foot three-point shot. Yeah. But that's just what confidence does. So that's why I can't chalk it up. They may fix it up. They may patch it up for the next 3 or 4 games. But this team, for some reason, starts to slip and start to get too cocky, and they worry about offense and forget about defense.
Read about my jumper, too. Don't let the fact that I lettered in bowling and golf fool you guys. In 4th grade, St. Mel, I was the leading scorer on my team. So just remember that. Yes, St. Mel. All right, so you talk about the defense, and that has been a struggle here. It was certainly a struggle tonight, giving up 127 against Atlanta. The rumors continue to float out there, and now they've picked up again. According to multiple reports, and you've talked about him a number of times, Chris, Corey Brewer back on the trade block. Is that somebody that would help the Cavs, and how much would he help the Cavs?
He will help the Cavs tremendously. You heard what LeBron James said. Guys need to stop worrying about help defense and focus on keeping your man, keeping the body between your man and the basketball hoop. They don't have that guy right now. There's nobody. Shawn Marion, he's playing well defensively, that is, but he's still not able to provide the services that a Corey Brewer provide. And I've talked to, people close to Corey Brewer. He would like to be a member of the Cavaliers. But also you got the Houston Rockets, who probably got a better package out there right now to make that deal work. So they definitely need a wing, dominant, defending type of player. But it's not that many out there. And Cavs right now, they're looking at doing all they can, but, man, it's going to be hard to come about.
You mentioned the package that Houston might have to get Corey Brewer. What would it cost the Cavs to try and match Houston or one-up Houston?
That's the problem. Right now, Cavaliers, what they have is basically that trade exception. Yeah. Corey Brewer's contract fits right in perfectly with the trade exception. Now, you have to probably put in a draft pick, but with the Timberwolves, I think they probably want a player in return. And sorry, but Minnesota Timberwolves have a young nucleus over there. We talk about Levine, Muhammad, Andrew Wiggins over there. I'm not sure they want to mix Dion Waiters in over there with that young and personable group over there. So, it just doesn't look good for them on that front, on the Corey Brewer front.
Joe, speaking of Dion Waiters, this was a Dion Waiters type game. Finishes tonight with 21 points. 12 of those came in garbage time. But no, in all seriousness, when it comes to this bench, they need a guy like Dion Waiters to continue to step up and elevate his game. And maybe tonight, possibly, who knows, it could be the start of something. 21 points from Dion Waiters. It's rare to see so far this year, but if they get that kind of thing from the bench, that's going to help everybody else.
Well, yeah, and Dion's been playing better more than he hasn't lately, but it's still a work in progress. I mean, and the benches, too. We all thought Mike Miller was going to go tonight, and then they came up with something about a stiff neck, which isn't really concussion related, but I don't know. We'll see. But they just didn't want him out there tonight, and he might have helped. I mean, when you get beat by 29, there's a whole lot that goes wrong. So we'll
certainly wouldn't say Mike Miller's the difference in a 29-point loss.
He would have got him to 100. That's for sure.
So Cavs lose tonight, 127-98, most lopsided loss of the season. Atlanta's a good team now, really good team. So what the Cavs did against Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, Atlanta does to the Cavs here tonight at the Q. The homestand continues on Friday night against the Brooklyn Nets, and we'll be back with you on Friday night right here from the Q. In the meantime, check out cleveland.com/Cavs for all of our coverage. For Chris Haynes, Joe Vardon, I'm Chris Fedor. Good night from the Q.